They tore it down. My lake cabin lost suddenly like that. No warning, no door knocking, no telephone call, just a team of strangers, some bulldozers, and the cold voice of a woman who believed she owned the world. One day I had a home with years of memories. The next I was facing a stack of splintered wood and shattered dreams. And the terrible thing, they believed they might have gotten away with it. But what they didn't realize was that they had just donated the property of the only man who signs off on every single land permit in the whole county. I'm Mark Benson. I've worked in the county's Department of Land Development for more than 15 years. My signature is the final stop on any building project, rezoning request, or to permit application in this sector of the state. Most people in my shoes allow that sort of power to go to their head, but not mine. I prefer low profiles. I like peace, nature, and quiet weekends at the lake, in the same wood cabin my father built with his own two hands in 1984. That cabin was wood and nails, but it was more than that. It was a piece of my soul, a legacy. The spot where my dad taught me how to fish, where we'd cook burgers on the 4th of July, and where I spread his ashes 10 years ago, off the old dock. It was my refuge, my sanctuary, and now it was nothing but a ruin of splinters and sawdust. All because of one woman, Sharon. She'd been president of the local HOA for only 6 months, but that was more than it took for her to go all dictator. She arrived like a hurricane, cracking down on flower pots, mailbox hues, kids' bikes on porches, and even checking people's grass, literally with a ruler. She came after me with letters first, a courtesy reminder that my cabin didn't meet the HOA's standards of aesthetics. I disregarded it because the thing is my cabin wasn't even within the HOA's jurisdiction. That was the entire reason my dad constructed it where he did outside their boundary line on purpose. Legally, I wasn't included in their small empire, and I never signed on to their dicta. I had the maps and the county records to substantiate it, but that didn't deter her. A few weeks later, I received another letter, this time not so affable. It was a charge of violating community codes, obstruction of lake access, even depreciation of property values. Once again, I ignored it. Then came the fines, bogus ones, stamped on paper that appeared official, but had no standing under the law. I kicked them out. Then, one Friday morning when I was at work, she moved on it. A team of men appeared at the cabin, contractors employed by the HOA. They brought heavy equipment, demolition equipment, and ordered Sharon's orders to knock down the unauthorized building forthwith. My neighbor John, who lived 2 lots away, messaged me mid-morning. "Mark, are you tearing down the cabin?" "What?" "Number why? Because it's already halfway gone." I flew out of my office so quickly I didn't even take my jacket. I drove down the highway, heart racing, sweating hands, trying to tell myself it was some sort of misunderstanding. But when I pulled up the gravel road that goes to the lake, I saw the truth. It was gone. The porch swing where I would sit and drink coffee, the dock where I caught my first base, the small weather vane on the roof that always pointed west regardless of the wind. All gone. The only thing still standing was the stone fireplace. The rest was annihilated. And there she was, Sharon, standing next to a white SUV, arms folded, clipboard clutched in hand, sunglasses reflecting the wreckage like it was just another day at the office. "I dealt with the problem," she said to me as if she was doing me a favor. "That cabin was an annoyance." "You're welcome." I couldn't talk. My throat constricted with anger and shock. I felt as if someone had hit me in the chest. "I hope you understand," she went on. "You'll be receiving the bill for the cleanup and demolition. HOA funds aren't inexpensive. Invoice cleanup. She had ruined my home, my past, and she expected me to pay her for it." I met her gaze. I might have screamed, might have blasphemed her away, but rather I spoke 7 soothing words that turned it around. "We'll see what the county said." She laughed. "The county can't assist you now. You should have obeyed the rules." That's when something clicked. She didn't recognize who I was. That evening I lay awake. I flipped open my laptop and accessed the county GIS system. All the maps, all the boundaries, all the zoning districts at my disposal. I printed it all out. My father's original deed, the report from the county surveyor, a signed note in 1991 verifying we were left out of HOA jurisdiction, because of the natural boundary of the creek. She had nothing. No legal right, no standing, just her ego. But I didn't leave it there. I began pulling permits, or rather non-P permits. The HOA had been doing a lot of things recently. New fences, security lights, playground enlargements, even a little marina dock. All one of those needed permits. None of them had gone through my department. I discovered at least 16 unpermitted structures. I documented everyone, took pictures, cross-checked against permit records. Not a single request had made it to my desk. Sharon had either taken shortcuts or omitted the process altogether. I reported it to the county enforcement agency and solicited a full site inspection, and I allowed it personally. 2 days later, I appeared at the HOA office with a crew of inspectors, a clipboard, and a camera. We walked every inch of the community, discovered illegal sewage extensions, electric wires buried without fences and code violations, setback laws and drainage systems improperly installed, which were degrading the shore of the lake. Each offense was listed in the report. Everybody had a fine, some ranging in the thousands. And Sharon, she shadowed us everywhere, puffing and blowing like a deflated balloon. "That's harassment," she barked. "No, ma'am," I said. "This is the law." But that wasn't enough for me still. Not after what she did. I brought a personal civil action with all the documentation, photos, deeds, witness testimony of the contractors who verified she approved demolition without checking ownership. And best of all, the boundary map with the HOA line ending 300 feet short of my property. The judge was furious. He didn't only rule in my favor. He destroyed Sharon for gross negligence, trespassing, destruction of private property, and abuse of HOA funds. She was directed to pay every penny to rebuild the cabin, plus an extra $50,000 in damages. Even worse for her, the HOA's insurance provider refused to cover it. Because she had acted outside her authority, the HOA board voted to remove her as president unanimously, and she was slapped with a personal lien on her house to pay for the judgment. And as for the cabin, I rebuilt it. Every log, every shingle, every piece of trim, even the old porch swing was salvaged and rehung in the same place. It was months, but I ensured each nail was driven in with the same care my father used to have. The first night spent back in that cabin, I lit the flames and sat on the swing, as before the old times. I gazed out toward the lake while the sun sank below the trees, golden light glimmering on the surface. It seemed as if he were with me. You know, I've never been a man to get even. I believe in statutes, in procedure, in getting things done the proper way. But when a person crosses the line literally and figuratively, you have to stand on your feet, not fists, but facts. And sometimes the quietest guy in the room makes the biggest impact. So to all overreaching HOAs, every clipboard-toting tyrant, every self-appointed neighborhood king or queen, don't let your power blind you. And never think the person you're messing with is powerless, because you just might bulldoze the wrong cabin. And if you enjoyed this story and want more unbelievable stories of justice, karma, and epic comebacks, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We have lots more stories like this one coming your